Alright guys, we're back yet again, and we're finally going to be talking about Mandalorian and Grogu. Finally was able to watch it, and going into the movie, seeing the trailer, hearing some of the reviews, having my own thoughts on it, I was going in pretty much not expecting something big, and also with just going, okay, what exactly are they going to do to continue the story? So, for just a quick recap of anyone that has not seen the movie thus far and you don't want to be spoiled, then obviously click off the video if you don't care, or if you're curious, or if you have seen the movie, let me know your thoughts about it. But the entirety of the movie is Mando still working with the New Republic. He comes back from a mission dealing with Imperials, and he is rewarded for not only this mission, but the possible next mission, if he does it, gets a rebuilt Razor Crest. So he gets that. He goes to another planet because the Hutts, the twins that we saw in Book of Boba Fett, are willing to make a deal with the New Republic to sell out an imperialist, but they have their own interests. They want to have their nephew, Rada the Hutt, who is Jabba the Hutt's son, rescued. When Mando does go to the area where he's at, we find out that he is a gladiator, and he gets treated well, and he works for this one that is a kind of like the leader of dealing with all the gladiators. But when Mando tries to buy him, we find out that, again, it's a setup, because, again, he just wants to be able to use Rada for enough money and be able to unleash all these monsters for him to go up against, just, non-stop. But Mando tries to help him. Rada calls the guards, and then him and Mando fight. And what we see is they do fight, but then when Mando yields, they unleash all these monsters, and Rada and Mando fight. And when that happens, they're able to escape, they're able to take them. And that's when Rada informs him, well, the one that was in charge of me, he's actually the imperialist that you're looking for. And when they do, him and Zeb, because Zeb's a lot in this movie, so again, if you're a fan of Rebels and you really like Zeb, you're able to see him in this film. And what happens is Zeb's pretty much like Mando's partner, if you really want to get technical, for the New Republic. And he and Mando take him down. They're able to bring him back to the New Republic. And Sigourney Weaver plays in here. She plays as like a commander, or, somewhat of authority. And again, she was only in here for like 4 scenes throughout the entirety of the movie. So she tries to get Mando hell because, he didn't go to the Hutts, and he's like, I don't care. And he gets accused of working for the Hutts, and he's like, no, I work for the New Republic. I don't work for gangsters no more. And this really shows that he has tried to turn over a leaf to try to be better because of everything that's happened in the previous seasons that we saw him in the Mandalorian show. But we also see where, unfortunately, him doing this and then trying to give Rada a benefit of the doubt, that he gets hunted, he gets a bounty, he gets captured, and he gets taken to the Hutts. And as soon as this happens, we see where he gets dropped down into a pit, and he deals with these monsters that we've seen before. I think it was in The Empire Strikes Back, and also a few others, where he went up against them. Then he goes up against a dragon snake, while at the same time Grogu tries to go save Mando with the little I can't think of the alien species that is with him, that tries to go help save Mando. But Mando's able to get free with the help of them. But Mando unfortunately gets poisoned. He tries to tell Grogu to leave, and Grogu stays after he takes on however many droids that have been rebuilt and reprogrammed by the Hutts for them to use as guards and also attack dogs. And when this happens, Grogu pretty much is in charge of Mando. He has to protect him. He has to give him as much water as possible. He starts stealing fish from this unknown alien that's on the planet. And when this happens, we see where he does get help from this mysterious stranger that says, I hear that they're looking for you and your friend, and that he was bitten by a dragon snake. And he gives Grogu the medicine, says, look, there's a chance he may not wake up, and he says it's just part of growing up and saying goodbye. And he does give him this, and then Mando does wake up, and they're able to find the ship that Rada was on. And when this happens, we see where Mando comes up with an idea of just crashing the ship into the Hutt's territory, and big old battle, consumes, and they're able to take on everybody. They even free Rada. Rada's able to help, and he dumps the his aunt and uncle into the pit, but Grogu surprisingly has enough strength within the Force to be able to lift him and be able to save him. But when this happens, this dragon snake actually eats the Radas, which is kind of like a throwback a little bit, I would say, to Star Wars Bounty Hunter. If you play that game, playing as Jango Fett, when you did that to the one that Jabba asked you to take down for Gardula. So that was kind of cool to see that. But I will say this, at the very end, you see where the Republic comes in, and they're able to help Mando be able to stop or just unleash a massive amount of attacks onto the base. And when that happens, they're able to escape, and then Rada decides to stay with the New Republic. Mando decides to take a break, and that's pretty much how the movie ends. There was nothing groundbreaking in this film. There was things about this where I do understand where people were getting upset, like when Mando got captured in the where Rada was, he has, his helmet on, but yet gas still affected him, even though it's not supposed to happen that way with the Mandalorian helmet, because you're supposed to have compressorized air to where you can be able to breathe in for a certain amount of time. But again, I don't know what happened with that. This did not feel like a groundbreaking movie. From everything that I have looked up and seen, that Lucasfilm went to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and said, hey, we need an idea for a movie. They tried giving them what they had for season 4. They're like, no, we need something different. They went ahead and rewrote everything, and then we got this. And in all honesty, it's not a bad movie. It's probably not the best movie, but it's a decent movie. I know there's people that love Grogu, but I understand where people are saying it's time to move on from Grogu, that I guess this time has passed, that Grogu is either getting too predictable, or, we're not really seeing anything from him, because yes, he moves Mando in this movie. He was able to, carry Rada out. But other than that, we didn't really see anything. Even Grogu was captured at one point in like a little birdcage type deal. And I'm like, he can't use the Force to get out of there. That's what kind of really made me think. And then the whole reason, again, as much as I may love Sigourney Weaver, from her role in Aliens and other movies, I didn't see the point of her being in this film other than just for namesake. And at the same time, I like seeing Rada in here. Rada did a good job, being able to explore that character and his relationship with Grogu, because even that, he was like, can I feed him? And Grogu goes into the cage with him, and he looks at Mando. He says, don't be worried, I'm not my father. So he really showed that he was not his father, that he was not a gangster. He had no interest in becoming a gangster. He wanted purpose. He wanted to be respected. He wanted to have freedom more than what his father and what his father's legacy would have offered him. And there is a meaningful moment in here that we see in the trailer, like the old take care of the young take care of the old, because again of how Mando treats Grogu like his son, and how Grogu, looked after Mando because he was scared. He thought that Mando was going to die, and he didn't, but I understand why people are saying all this. And again, this could have just been a season of Mandalorian. In all honesty, it could have gone on for about 4 to 5 episodes, and it would have been fine, because we do feel like that, oh, well, this is who you're looking for. It's like, really? It just, and the Imperialists that they got, who's the loyalist to the Empire, they just felt like buffoons, honestly. The one that was the main guy that they were going after, who was in charge of Rada, I've seen him before. He played in a show, if you guys remember, called Mom. Couldn't take him seriously on there. Can't take him seriously on anything. I just don't think he's that good of an actor. And then the ones that they've been getting for the Imperialists, just again, are buffoons. I just don't take them seriously. They're not much of a threat. They're just idiots that are still loyal to the Empire. And again, you had all this stuff you could use with Thrawn, but again, you're not going to explore that. You're not going to show that, oh my God, Thrawn is out, he's taking the Night Sisters back to, to bring them back and, cause a new empire and all this other kind of stuff. Nothing like that was mentioned. Nothing with the Force, other than shown with Grogu. Nothing to where, oh my God, this is new Star Wars. Would I say this is better than the sequels? Yes, I will definitely say that. Is it better than Han Solo? I will say yes. I will say yes, it's better than Han Solo. Is it better than, I would say, Rogue One? I would say it probably goes hand in hand with Rogue One in this. Again, even though I do not like Cassian Andor, I do not like that character. But overall, Mando shows his face one time. Mando was a badass, I will admit that. But again, if they would have just left his mask on without seeing Pedro's face, I would have been fine. I used to not mind Pedro Pascal, but now after everything he's said and done from the outside of not only political stuff, but also from his own personal opinions on things, I wish he would just shut up and not ruin anything for people to ruin the image of him. That way it would not ruin characters that he's done and he's portraying as of this moment. So I'm just not a fan of Pedro Pascal anymore. I'm not. I just wish he'd just shut up and just do his job. But overall, Mandalorian and Grogu, it's an okay movie. 1 out of 10, I would probably say it's a 5.5 maybe, or a 5. It's not groundbreaking to see. I would say if you really want to see it, I would say save your money, watch it on Disney Plus if you got it. Buy the DVD even. I wouldn't even say waste your money to go see this in theaters, because again, it's just one of those things that we could have seen on Disney Plus for pretty much what you're paying for, rather than paying extra money to go see it in theaters. This movie was not groundbreaking, like I said. It was nothing that we probably haven't really seen before, other than introducing new Imperialists and Rada the Hutt. That was pretty much it, because the last time we saw him was again when Ahsoka saved him in Clone Wars with Anakin. But again, it was okay. Would I watch it again? Probably, yeah. But at the same time, I do understand a lot of the issues that people are having with this film, and also what they expect more of. But again, everybody wants to say, oh, this is what, this killed Star Wars. This did not kill Star Wars. What killed Star Wars was the sequels, the Acolyte, and then also the decisions that Kathleen Kennedy has made, Lucasfilm has made, Dave Filoni has made, and among others. That is what killed Star Wars. So again, if you guys want to blame somebody for that, or you want to blame the toxicity, blame Lucasfilm, blame Kathleen Kennedy, blame Dave Filoni, but at the end of the day, it don't matter, because our voices don't really matter. Because again, we're not in the boardroom, we are not in whatever. If you guys are unhappy with this, I fully understand. I'm unhappy with it to a certain degree, but again, fans could probably make 10 times better than this, than what we did. And speaking of, I did see before I even record this video, that there was that new movie that just came out, Backroom, that was actually created by someone who was originally started out as a YouTuber, outdid Star Wars. So that is very sad to say, very surprising that someone within, that came from YouTube and started doing movies was able to outdo a Star Wars product that's supposed to do very well in theaters, supposed to, blast off, for no pun intended, be able to be such a great box office hit. But again, it just shows what's happened to huge media, and people are getting tired of it. So overall, what'd you guys think of this film? Let me know about it down in the comments, and I'll see you as always on the next one.